Welcome to How to Recruit from Your Alma Mater. This is a free webinar that is brought to you by the MTSU Alumni Association. I am Rachel Helms. I am one of the assistant directors in alumni relations. Our partnership with MTSU's Career Development has been a real win-win for us. Victoria Sexton, Ayla Calvert, and Jenny Bryan are part of a small but mighty team, and every day they help students and alumni navigate the world of internships and employment. They are, helping students all the time. They are holding a campus-wide career fair on September 25th in the Campus Rec Center, and today they will introduce us to an alumni panel of experts who will discuss how engaging with MTSU can be one of the most effective ways to expand your hiring network. Just a couple of reminders. Everyone who's here today, you are on mute, so please feel free to drop questions into the chat or the Q&A as we go. We will be answering questions throughout the event, so don't be shy. And just in case we don't get to your question, I will make sure to give out my contact information at the end of the webinar, and I'll be happy to forward that on. Okay, so Ayla Calvert, she is one of our career advisors in the Career Development Center. Ayla, good afternoon.
Hi, awesome. Thank you, Rachel, for that sweet introduction. My name is Ayla Calvert. I'm a career advisor here in the Career Development Center, and I just wanted to introduce my colleagues, Victoria Sexton. She's also a career advisor here in the department. And then we have Jenny Bryan, who is our Employer Relations Assistant Director. And we are a small but mighty team, but we try to serve all students across all majors as well as alumni members. So if you need anything throughout the presentation, please feel free to drop it in the chat box, or our information will be at the end. So if you have any questions, please let us know. All right, Victoria, or Jenny, my bad, Jenny.
No worries. Thank you, Victoria. As she said, I'm Jenny Bryan, and I am the person that is trying to create relationships with employers in the area to employ our students, whether through internships, part-time roles, or full-time roles after they graduate. And it is my privilege to work with these panelists that we have assembled here on a regular basis. They, as individuals and their organizations at large, have been so great to work with us in attending our career fairs, in coaching our students in how to interview sessions, or giving them tips on job searching, all of those sorts of things. And so we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do without invested, committed employers like these folks. And so I want them to quickly introduce themselves and when they graduated, what program they graduated with from MTSU, and what their role is in terms of recruiting for their organizations now.
So I'll jump in, Jenny. My name is Jon Snider. I'm the Director of Military Affairs and Workplace Programs at HCA Healthcare, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Graduated from MTSU in 2011 with a bachelor's degree in community and public health. Big shout out to Dr. Winborn and Dr. Ellis, who have been mentors for me and people I still stay in touch with. But very grateful for my time with MTSU. I completed the Army ROTC program while there, commissioned as an officer, went on active duty, and roads have left me, led me to where I'm at today. In my role as the Director of Military Affairs and Workplace Programs, I lead our enterprise-wide military recruitment strategy for the organization, as well as our employee resource group strategy. And so small team, just like the team at MTSU, but we produce a lot of great value for our veterans and military community nationwide.
Yeah, so we're grateful for your service, Jon, and we're grateful for your speaking to hiring military and military connected folks. And so we'll dive into that a little bit later. But I appreciate that that you bring that special population to light. Ms. Maddie Morgan, would you go next, please? Because you're the next on my little square.
Absolutely. Hi, guys. My name is Maddie Morgan. I'm the HR Generalist for Enterprise Mobility here in Middle Tennessee. So we operate Enterprise Rent-A-Car, National, and Alamo. I've been with the company since I graduated from MTSU with my bachelor's in marketing in 2020. And as far as the recruiting from MTSU, I'm very lucky that I got to inherit that opportunity, and that's how I landed my role. So I'm very passionate about making sure that we stay present on campus.
And Enterprise has been an amazing partner for the Career Development Center. They hire and train so many of our students while they're in school as management trainees, and then hire them in the organization afterwards. So it's been wonderful, and Maddie invests heavily on campus on a regular basis. So we're excited for her to join.
Yes.
All right, and so next is Rudie, looking, what did we say? HR Barbie
You always
today.
say
Is what- I think she looks glowing in pink. She says HR Barbie. You decide.
Oh
All
my
right,
goodness,
tell us
hilarious.
about yourself.
Hi, I'm Rudie McGowen. I'm coming up on my 13th year at TBI. I've done a lot of things there, but mostly my pride and joy now is doing HR. So I am a recruiter, and I am the internship coordinator there. So all things onboarding, recruiting. I too help our veterans place employment with our agency as well. So John, again, thank you for your service. A veteran life is very important to me. My husband is a veteran as well. So it's important to recruit, as we all know, how great MTSU's recruiting program is, and all the veterans, the military personnel that MTSU has there. I always look for my MTSU grown candidates first. So I'm very thrilled and honored to be a part of the panel today.
And we're excited that you made it. She like ran the gauntlet to be here, guys. She's had a rough couple of weeks, but she showed up no less. And one thing I want to point out about Rudie is that I had met her a couple of years ago. She was talking about this amazing summer internship program that they have. And when I asked her, do you support housing for students who do not live in the area? She was like, no, unfortunately not. But she worked to made all the meetings and got all the approvals to make that happen. So at some point I want to get her to tell us her secrets there too. So, but I
Thanks.
really
And also I'm
appreciate
class of 2012. Sorry about that. Forgot that. A little jittered, but class of
great.
2012.
Yay. All right, Leland, you're up, sir.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Leland Waite, and I'm also a graduate of MTSU. I work for Delta Airlines, so my day job is as a captain on the Airbus 320, but I also get to work with an exciting program we have called Propel, which is a career pathway recruitment program specifically for pilots. So I went through the aerospace department's professional pilot undergraduate program, and also our aviation administration master's program at MTSU. And I've actually had a number of roles in the aerospace department as an instructor and actually as a faculty member for a brief stint as well. But we have a really exciting program. Students that are going through the program, a majority of students that enroll have an interest in flying for the passenger airlines one day. So we get to work with students, mentor them, and kind of guide them along a pathway to one day flying for Delta. So glad to be here, and thanks for having us.
We're so glad you could join us. As you can see, we tried really hard to present you a very diverse group from a variety of different industries so that you can kind of get a sense of what it might be like for your organization to recruit from MTSU. And so it's, our aerospace program is growing all the time. And so we're just pleased as punch that Leland can be here to represent his engagement with them. We did have one other panelist, Tina Hatcliffe from Darrell Waltrip Honda, and she was having tech issues. Tina, were you able to jump on? I don't think she's here with us, so we're gonna.
Tina is still having just a little bit of trouble. We are working through it though to see what we can do.
Okay, no worries. So we'll just move on ahead, and whenever she can join us, we'll be glad to have her. But Tina is the class of '87, and she is the guest relations manager for Darrell Waltrip Honda, one of our newer partnerships. And they have just whatever you say, have joined us with, all speed ahead to be on campus as much as they can, engage in various different ways throughout the academic year this last year. And so we wanted her to represent her engagement too. So if she joins in, great. If not, we'll have to ask her back for the next one. So with that, I think Victoria wanted to give us a little context from which we'll work with our questions for the panelists, but we wanted you guys to know a little bit about the work we do in the Career Development Center.
Thanks, Jenny, and thanks everybody for joining. So like Jenny mentioned, I'm going to talk very, very briefly because you're here to listen to the panelists chat, but I think it's important to kind of contextualize why we're having these conversations and how the Career Center can support you all as alumni and how we support students on campus. So our mission is to empower students and alumni with tools and strategies to discover and engage in meaningful work and a purposeful life. We do that in a variety of ways. We have one-on-one appointments with students and alumni to answer questions like, what can I do with my degree? Or how can I continue to gather experiences that complement my academic journey so that when I'm ready to graduate, I feel career ready and prepared. We also host career fairs on campus. We have our career closet. These are all resources we'll probably talk about later in the webinar. But really, what we want you to know is that if you at any point are considering re-careering or you just are kind of lost when it comes to things career and you don't know who to ask, we're a really great place to start. A lot of us, I think all of us in our office actually have re-careered before. And so we also come with kind of personal experience, which I find very valuable. The other thing I want to touch briefly about is kind of the guiding light of our office, these career competencies. So if you're not familiar, NACE is a national organization. It stands for National Association of Colleges and Employers. And they work with universities and employers to determine what skills are really important for new graduates to have to enter their careers with. And they do this research pretty regularly, and they have determined 8 career competencies that are really valuable for graduates to have to help them feel prepared. You will notice that there are 7 on the screen and not 8 due to state regulations and laws. There's one I can't really talk to you about today, but I would encourage you to Google that if you're curious about it. You'll see here on the screen, though, that these are probably things that you are hoping that your graduate students or that your new employees, are having a grasp of. Not only that they have these skills, but that they can talk about these skills, right? How can they connect the dots between what they've done in college and before college to what they're going to be doing for your organizations? And so that's the guiding light to how we help students and help them really develop those competencies in their time here and beyond. So really brief, really broad, but we think that that's important to help guide us in this conversation because it guides us in our work. If you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And I think with that, I'm just going to kick it back to Jenny to get our panel started.
Thank you for laying the groundwork for us, Victoria. As she said, it's important that we lead our work with intentionality, and that's why we appreciate so much this group of panelists that we've brought here today, because we find that they have done the same. They and their organizations are very intentional about recruiting for their organizations. They're very intentional about engaging with our students on campus, and we want them to share some of those experiences with you. So with that, let's start at the very beginning because it's a very good place to start. If you guys will just talk about what motivated you to first begin recruiting at MTSU. Is there a particular thing that drew you to start recruiting from your alma mater? And what would you say about some of those competencies, the leadership, the critical thinking, that sort of thing? What would you say about our MTSU students in terms of their ability to be able to bring those to your organizations? Sorry, let me interject real quick and say I should have set the groundwork for the audience. I told the group that we weren't going to necessarily go round robin. Not all of our panelists need to feel pressured to answer at any particular question. But if you have a question that you would like for us to pose to them, drop that in the chat. We've got folks monitoring that. And if there's somebody in particular that you want to address that question to, please, please name them. As I said, we worked hard to provide a variety of opinions here, so make use of those. But anyway, I won't be calling on people and putting them on the spot. I want them to jump in with their own thoughts. So again, the question is, what motivated you to begin recruiting from MTSU, and how do you feel the MTSU students show up for your organization? Are they career ready? Are there things we need to be working on, and so on?
I'll start. So when it came to recruiting at MTSU, it was really important for me because MTSU is like a hub. There's something out here in the world for everybody if you're an MTSU student or grad. We had everything that I needed for TBI, from scientists to pilots. That's what my excitement was with the pilots and how we can use our aerospace program, because we are now about to start hiring for pilots. And the criminal justice part, a lot of MTSU's professors work for our agency, so it was just a no-brainer. And then us being a part of the MTSU alumni family, we're all products from MTSU. So if our employees can choose us, and knowing how much of an engagement piece MTSU is for TBI, and now the leadership that you all hold at MT, it's amazing to see the connections. Like Jenny mentioned earlier, it took one time for me to tell her, hey, I need housing. A lot of MTSU students can't do our internship program because they don't have places to stay. And I'm big on catering to the needs of others, and I'm very genuine about that. And so when Jenny was like, let me put you in contact with the correct people, that's what I'm talking about to get the ball rolling. And it's nothing like an MT family. So it was a big need and an asset to recruit from MTSU. Like I said, the professors that work there, from the students that we have coming up to our booths, hey, I have this experience, where can I fit at your agency? Or if it's not at your agency, where can I fit in general? What steps do I need to take? So I think that was a big deal to recruit from. I call MTSU home, to recruit from home. So
For me, Jenny, it was the simple fact that, MTSU has approximately anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300 military affiliated students across campus any given semester. Many of these veterans that are in National Guard and reservists that are, on MTSU's campus are already skilled with some of these career ready skills that we're looking for as employers. And they are just looking to bridge the gap between those skills and matching those skills to the education that they are needing to find meaningful and purposeful work after taking off the uniform the last time. MTSU has really set a new standard in terms of how they are supporting military students and their families. The entire team at the Charlie and Hazel Center for Veterans and Military Families is really not only just leading this the standard in the state, but other colleges and universities are looking to their footprint and trying to replicate some level of impact that they have been able to make in the students' lives. And this isn't just even in terms of career readiness. It's helping them choose the most appropriate degree pathway for them based on their strengths and interest, but also meeting some more critical needs while they're students. So financial needs, housing needs. And so, it's an honor to even just partner with that group and help the students that come from MTSU. So I would say in terms of that, that was really the big draw. And then, just watching Jenny's team, your team grow and expand to add Rod Key, who's been a key to the success that I've had here at MTSU, and really connecting with, those veterans who are on the verge of graduating or looking for internship opportunities or needing opportunities to fulfill capstone requirements. Developing those relationships with Rod, who's a veteran himself, has been really critical in helping those students at MTSU.
So glad somebody mentioned Rod Key. I was like, yes, we love Rod. Rod is fantastic. He's a great resource for us and our veterans as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we work very closely with the Veteran and Military Center. And so I am the employer relations person for the general campus for all the students and all the majors. And my counterpart, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Chris Rochelle as well in the Daniel Center. He is doing for veterans what I'm trying to do for the general campus, and we share contacts quite a bit. And so yes, any of you that are interested, we often are asked about, how do we recruit veterans? And I would say that we would put you in touch with the center, with Chris Rochelle. Rod Key has come on as a career advisor that works specifically with the veteran and military connected students, because we've prioritized their transitions home and their transitions through their matriculation, and how their experience might differ just a bit from the general population. And so we're very grateful for those opportunities. And one thing I wanted to say too about military recruiting is that I am I'm just really impressed with the way that HCA, and you might do this too at TBI, Rudie, but the way that they support their military and veteran community and their ERGs. And, they really do put their money where their mouth is, in terms of not just drawing it, so, drawing that population so that it looks good on their stat sheet, but supporting them all the way along. And that program was built from the ground up by Jon. Do you want to say anything more about how you support veterans, in case there are those that are interested in recruiting that population specifically, Jon?
Well, I think really I think back about how we got started. You know, and what we ended up doing was I invited Rod and Jenny to come to HCA's corporate office building just to sit down and have lunch. I think or I don't know if I treated you to lunch, or maybe it was soon after lunch.
You did. It was great.
But we talked about some of the new things that are coming out of the Career Services Center. We talked about what are some of the opportunities that they see and that they hear from the students, and we just got to form a relationship. I got to hear what they're doing, but also got to say, look, here's our immediate needs as an organization. In terms of quality of veterans, I'm looking for these set of specific skills. And here's how we can leverage, our employee resource group for our military community to help your students. And so, we have been able to participate in some, resume review sessions with some of our student veterans. We have worked with doing mock interviews. So I think forming that relationship between, the Career Development Center and then the employer has been really critical. In terms, it's just been a critical asset for us to, have that partnership and lean on to it to produce outcomes, not only just for the students, but for us in terms of, employers.
That's great. And know that we want to connect all of our employers in the way that it makes sense for them on campus. And so if there are connections that you wish that you could make, please reach out to the Career Development Center. We are constantly making those connections and trying to find ways that plug you in ways that impact your goals. I wanted to talk about internships. One of the calls I get as the employer relations person quite a bit is, how do I set up an internship at my organization? And I think that one of the things I try to educate folks on is that before you're ready to do that, we really want you to try to consider what the funding source would be for that. I know that I'm Gen X, and many times people from my generation will expect that internships are not paid. And that is just not a sustainable situation for the bulk of our students. They are almost 50% of them are first generation college students. Many of them are non-traditional and supporting themselves and their families in addition to that. And so I want to jump to Maddie here from Enterprise in just a minute to talk about their paid internships. But first, we want to just show you a really brief video about why we and the organization we affiliate with, NACE, that we introduced to you before, are so committed to helping students find paid opportunities. Do you have the sound? Sorry, we have to. Tech is always fun.
Can y'all hear it?
No. Victra. Well, okay, so we won't show it to you, but we'll drop maybe we can
Think I
drop
got
the link in the chat. You got it? Okay, good.
Awesome. This looks great.
Yeah, shoes off for this one?
Oh, okay. That's great. This is way better than my parents' basement.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not currently employed. I just finished an unpaid internship, and I was just wondering if you would take this agency commemorative mug for first and last month's rent.
You told me you're employed, so
I was an intern. HR paid me in this commemorative mug and also a high five. So I can pass that right on to you. We can do.
that's okay. But I mean, when you told me that you were getting paid, you didn't say it was a mug or a high five. So.
I hear that. Should I just ask my boss to pay me money?
Yes, I highly encourage that.
Okay.
So that's sort of just a tongue-in-cheek way to illustrate a really real problem for our students. They need the money in order to not have to reduce hours to finish their degrees, and it can lead to all kinds of equity issues that we won't get into. But the important piece is that our students truly do need to be paid. And so I wanted to turn to Enterprise, which again has been a front leader, I believe, in this way. And so, Maddie, can you speak to why you pay your students when they come and intern or be management trainees for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so our internship is all summer from whenever they get done with school in May till they're ready to go back to school in August. And it is full-time, 40 hours a week. Some like to work more because they get paid overtime after that. And it is very hands-on. It's in the heat. It's customer facing. You're in and out of the weather. And I think it's really important. I mean, that's just, I think, human decency at this point, right? But they are truly putting in a lot of hard work. And their work is ultimately going to land them that full-time career after graduation. But they would probably rather go flip burgers if they're going to get paid for it than renting cars. So, just that competitive advantage is very important to us. And, I never understood the unpaid internship either. And it's one thing that also attracted me to Enterprise from the beginning was just how passionate they are about taking care of their employees. So I think at the end of the day, everyone deserves to be paid for their hard work, no matter what they're doing. So I think for us, that's kind of the point there, but
Thank you for that
question.
Yeah, no, it does. And it sort of brings up one thing that I wanted to say is that the conversion rate between interns to full-time hires is much higher among those who are paid for those internships. And those that take sort of a developmental approach to, we are training you to begin with our organization because we invest in you. They may step away after that internship, but in the meantime, you've really contributed to their career success. And one way to show that you appreciate what they've brought to the team, and that you would like to retain them is to pay them along the way. So thanks for that perspective. I appreciate it. Leland, can you talk a little bit about the various different things that you've done on campus? Sorry, I said I wasn't going to call on you guys, and here I am doing it, but I just didn't want, I wanted to talk about the various different ways that Delta Propel has engaged on campus, because I know you've come to a bunch of different fairs, you interview on campus. So I just wanted to sort of highlight that we will help employers connect in that way too, if that works for them. So if you'll just say a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny. So my main role is what we call a liaison for the Propel program. So we actually partner with a number of aviation college programs across the country. MTSU right now is one of our 10 schools, and they're actually one of the founding members when the Propel program started in 2018. We have a lot of MTSU graduates that fly at Delta, and just as a proud graduate, we have, I think, one of the best aviation programs in the country. So we're always happy to attract top talent and to have the partnership with MTSU. So kind of our goal with Propel during the semester, there's myself and one other liaison. Most of our schools have two assigned to the school. We visit campus once a month, and we'll try to host a variety of programming and things that students can attend. So kind of our big event we do each semester is called Delta Days. So we usually take either a 2 or 3 day span, and we'll give a presentation for the students. We coordinate with the aerospace department. We usually have used the State Farm room recently in the BAS building, and we'll give about an hour-long presentation kind of about life at Delta as a pilot. And we'll pick a different topic each semester. And our industry especially is one that kind of a lot of the interesting details of it, it's really helpful to learn from somebody who's in the industry. And a lot of our students are just really excited to kind of learn about the lifestyle and what it's like to fly for the airlines. So we kind of pick a different topic each semester. We'll usually bring in pizza or some kind of snacks for the students and give the presentation, and then have kind of a chance to do like some town hall style engagement. So they'll ask us questions, and we'll kind of expand from there. We also will set up like an informational booth in the lobby of the aerospace building, and we've taken a chance each semester to attend. Both aerospace has a specific departmental career fair, but last fall we also attended the big career fair, kind of the university-wide career fair for the first time. And we find especially that sometimes aerospace students have a hard time connecting with employers. You know, we're a little bit different in the sense that a lot of airlines are only headquartered or have like a physical presence at their hub or, 1 or 2 locations, but we still need to recruit and connect with students all across the country. So we find that going to those styles of events are great for involvement with the students. And we're actually really impressed with, how much the students have looked into the organization and kind of know and have good questions for us. We usually try and do a fun event each semester as well. And we've had a lot of success partnering with student organizations. The aerospace department is a great example. We have a different organization that represents all kind of phases of student life, and especially students that may come from like a non-traditional background, like veteran students, or students that are interested in a more kind of certain segment of the aviation industry. So we've done fun things. We did like a dodgeball tournament one night. We did a trivia, like an aviation trivia night. And usually we'll cater in some food. We'll be there, kind of do the event and have a chance to kind of meet and network with the students. So we found that especially being approachable and kind of being fun and having something more than just giving a PowerPoint for 30 minutes helps a lot too. We find the students enjoy that. And honestly, I can understand, being on campus, if I went and sat in classes all day, the last thing I wanted to do was go sit in another presentation. So having a chance to have some food or actually have some fun, we found that to be really, really beneficial for us. And we think kind of keeping that consistent connection on campus has been great. And we get to know a lot of the students and find that, they're much more willing to kind of entertain, hearing us and speaking with us and being interested in our program.
Yeah, that's a great answer. You hit like 7 points that I wanted to touch back on, but the most important one I wanted to highlight is that what Leland is describing that Delta Propel and other organizations do is they're building a talent pipeline, and they are beginning early. They are showing up on campus to insert themselves into the campus community. They are, besides just career fairs, they're connecting with faculty when we can make that happen. They have casual events and more informational ones, but they're building their branding along the way. And so even if students don't recognize them right away as some place that they would like to work, as a freshman, they may not know what they want to do, but they're building talent pipelines, but they're also building career pathways. Anytime we can get folks like these panelists to come on campus and speak about their experiences and speak how they ended up in the way and where they are, it helps bring clarity, particularly when they're alumni, because the students recognize that these folks went through the same classes that they did. They, battled with the same professors they did maybe, but they connect with them more readily. And that's one of the best things that I think recruiters can leverage when they recruit at their alma mater, is just that unique connection that they may not have with other universities. But sometimes I hear from employers, I just want to talk to seniors and juniors. I don't want to have to go and talk with the young folks. I'll say you're cutting yourself off at the foot if you're doing that. Some of you may have heard about our enrollment cliff that we in higher education talk about a lot. The birth rates are dropping. Therefore, those that are coming through universities and getting degrees will eventually drop. And so we have to begin earlier to build these pipelines. And at the same time, if you're paying it forward and helping your successor to your industry figure out where they can land and your industry, then you're sort of putting the development into the Career Development Center. You're really helping coach them along, and students are anxious for that. So we can speak to you more about this if you want, but at a later time. But the enrollment cliff is something that we, like I said, in higher education are strategizing on how to combat. And we think that you as employers need to be thinking ahead as well, because there is likely going to be a drop in qualified candidates if you haven't built some of these pathways, some of these pipelines that we're speaking to. So thanks for that, Victoria. I want to pause right now and see, do we have any questions from the audience? Anything that others would like to know? Nobody. Okay, just me. No problem. I've got more. So I want to talk to you a little bit about like from your experience, how the Career Development Center or others on campus, Jon mentioned some, Leland mentioned some, how they have sort of supported you in putting you in contact with students in meaningful ways for you. Can you share an example of an event or an activity that you went to that you feel was particularly beneficial for whatever your organization's goals were? Is there something that you can kind of say, if I were you and I wanted to start recruiting on campus, this is where I would begin?
I'll jump in just with a comment, but Jenny, I mean, I'm not probably the perfect example about on-campus recruitment, just because most of our military connected students are more non-traditional. Typically, they're still holding an 8 to 5 job, coming on campus in the evenings. And so, my feedback for other employers in the call is to get creative. I actually just jotted down Leland's comment about hosting a dodgeball tournament. I could get tons of folks here at HCA to probably come out to a dodgeball event, and help us recruit. So, I would challenge employers just to get creative. Think outside the box. On-campus recruitment and events is just one avenue to target MTSU students. So get creative. Work with community partners. What are some of the nonprofits and other organizations within the greater Rutherford County or other surrounding counties that you have a footprint in. Create those partnerships as well to be another source of recruitment. But I think it goes back to just maintaining some level of partnership with the Career Development Center. I think, Jenny, I hope you learned something about HCA when I brought you on site, just to learn about who we are as an organization. We don't just hire nurses. We have a phenomenal relationship with the nursing school there. But we're more than just what you see on Grey's Anatomy. We have, there's so much technology. We have our own data science and, research area of our organization. And so, it allowed, me showing the career development team, who we are as an organization, allowed, your team to be an advocate for our organization. And you took that information and have been integrating it into conversations with students and saying, hey, I know you're in computer science, but have you looked at career opportunities in healthcare? There are opportunities there. So that's just some of the general feedback that I would give about that.
No, that's great. And I've had the opportunity to be at Enterprise a number of times. Our whole team went to a site visit with Rudie and the TBI recently. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, Jon, that we really are interested and invested in what your organization is doing and how it can apply to our students. We have over 300 majors. Did I know that TBI hires pilots before I went to visit? I absolutely didn't. But it's important for us to know that that's an option. And I could go on and on, but every day our team is learning about what your needs are. And that speaks to why we try to partner with you to learn a little bit about your organization so that we can present those opportunities to our students that they or we may not have thought about before. So thanks for pointing that out. But I wanted to go back. I think, was it Rudie or Maddie or both that were going to speak to my original question about, are there particular events or how would you begin if you were starting all over?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, obviously we do a big event every semester through our professional selling class for enterprise fleet management. So that's a big way that we get on campus, but through the Career Development Center and through the professional selling, professor, that it's really important, just the synergy that MTSU has between the different departments and everything. And the beauty of enterprise is that you don't have to have a business degree. You don't have to have a marketing degree or professional selling degree to come on. You can have a degree anywhere. So when we have that synergy and we're willing to plug into these different events that Jenny invites us to, or that, we partner with other people around, we get to meet all kinds of students. And that's what's really important to us. And maybe we don't have the right opportunity for them, but maybe we do, or maybe we have one down the line where they want to get into the management training program early to build their career that way. And maybe they can't get in without some experience, so they join our team. So I think that's what's really important for us as a company, to be involved with so many different majors across, just because you guys have such a great synergy between everybody. So that's why it's important to us.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and Leland brought this up too. We have the big career fair that is at the beginning of the semester. It's September 25th this year. And that is our all majors university-wide career fair that we as an organization coordinate. The Career Development Center is in charge of executing this one. But we also work with all the academic departments that have their own career fairs. So aerospace is one, tourism and hospitality has their own, nursing has one, supply chain management sometimes has one, IT Connect. Engineering is going to try to have their own this fall. So we stay abreast of all the opportunities for you to engage with students on campus, so that if you start by calling us and letting us know what you're most in need of for that moment, we'll help you tailor, a plan for that semester, and make sure that you're hitting the key events where you can engage with those particular students. So Ms. Vanna, Ayla is popping up those slides just on cue, but there is a QR code if you guys are interested in registering for the career fair, and we can get you that information as well offline. So thanks for that. I wanted to ask going back to the idea of building a pipeline and that sort of thing, what are your thoughts on, if you don't have a vacancy right now that you think, you want to promote necessarily at a career fair, what are the pros and cons for attending the fair anyway, engaging with the campus in a different way to, again, begin building pipelines rather than sitting out because you don't have a current vacancy right now? Do any of you have thoughts on that?
Oh man, that is TBI at its finest. We hire by vacancy, and that has been a good and a bad thing. But I've tried to turn it into a positive thing, meaning you can still come up and see me, especially I'll be at the big career fair representing TBI. So I always tell people, just because something's not open now, making connections is so important. And since I get filled to capacity just because I'm the only one that HR team is only made of 8 people. And on my side, out of the 8, it's just me, my boss, and another coworker and one more coworker that does recruiting on our side, but I am the recruiter and I enjoy people and I enjoy talking to people. So I always say the positive thing is you get to still meet our team. And then just because we don't have a vacancy doesn't mean that's that career ready instinct. I can tell you, hey, this is how you can prepare for this. This is when it's open, because the day you come and visit me, it doesn't mean we don't have a vacancy. We might have a vacancy and we just might not be advertising for it yet, because we fall under the umbrella of big DOHR, Downtown Department of Human Resources of Tennessee. They're our umbrella that we're under. So I always tell people, I'm like, just because we don't have a vacancy, please come up to our table, tell me what you're looking for. We can help where we can. And then when we do have vacancies, either way it goes, you still made that connection and I can be an advocate for you. Not guaranteeing you'll get a job, but I can say when that list comes through and my other coworkers get that list, hey, I met them at a career fair. That has been such a positive outlook on things, because a lot of people don't know you can be in college and apply for a temp position with us. So it's under it's at TBI, but it's considered contract. But I have 3 MTSU students so far that are temp employees with us. And it's so much easier to get a job full time with TBI if you're already a contract employee. So I always tell people, please make the connection. Just because we say, hey, we have a lot of people, I want to be a special agent. I want to be a scientist, or I want to be in our CJIS department. I don't want to carry a gun, but I have other assets that I think would be great for your company. All that is great if I know, but if I don't know, I can't help. So I always tell people, please make that connection. Just because we don't have something open, we might, but you won't know unless you ask. So that has been I've been trying to bridge that gap so people won't get discouraged.
Yeah, and one thing too that I think about with TBI is that a lot of students come, from criminal justice degrees want to go and do that. But one thing they may not know, if they haven't spoken with Rudie or someone from her team, is that they really would benefit from some science background if they're going to apply for the majority of their jobs. And so that's one way that employers can influence the decisions our students make while they're in school, is to share the career pathways that you've been through and what you would do differently, what you would add. I wish I had taken an entrepreneurship class before doing this. I wish I'd taken, accounting. I wish this, I wish that. But also just to, broaden their horizons. They may not fully understand what it takes to get qualified for positions in your organization or in your industry if you're not, attending events like this where we can share that information. I'm going to pause again. Are there any other questions from the audience? I feel like there's got to be somebody with a burning question that they want to ask.
It looks like someone posted something. As alumni of MTSU, how do we initiate a partnership with our employers?
Okay, gotcha. So from the student or alumni angle, how do they connect with employers? So while we use a platform called Handshake, it's an online job platform. We don't have bulletin boards and flyers anymore. And so we encourage all of our employers to set up free accounts there. They can post those positions. The QR code that they're popping up right now will take you to set up an account there if you're an employer. Alumni, you can also join Handshake if you want to search for things there. I will say that Handshake is an early talent platform. It's intended to work like an Indeed.com or one of those type of things for those that are early on in their pathways, or they're still in school. So it's, this is the place to post your internships. This is the place to post positions that might be good for graduates with 0 to maybe 3 or 4 years experience. But beyond that, we're not going to claim that that's the best place to connect. So for alumni that are wanting to seek interactions with employers, I would use LinkedIn to seek out who is in your alumni network, companies that have alumni working for them that you might be interested in. I would go that route. I would follow up with our department to set up a time for us to talk through with you what some options might be for you. Again, as we said earlier, we do forever and ever. If you're our alum, we will help you with recareering or job searching or all of those sorts of things. So hopefully that answered that question. Was there anyone else with a question? Okay, very cool.
Oh, wait, Jenny,
yeah.
somebody, if I had a person, let's see, if anybody has any questions, you can, there is one of the HR inboxes that we use, and it's tbi.hr@tbi.tn.gov. I had somebody trying to connect and I just didn't want to ignore them because we're in a different network and I couldn't reach out specifically to them. So
yeah, and if anyone needs connections after this call, again, reach out to us, reach out to Alumni Relations, and we'll help make those things happen. So okay. Are there any trends that you guys have seen in early talent recruitment? Has there anything changed in the way that you have recruited early talent, interns, or new graduates in recent years? And do you expect any different moving forward?
We already kind of talked about internships, and I think one of the bigger changes we've seen recently is that they want an internship earlier on. Now, my company specifically will only do rising seniors. So the opportunity for us to come in earlier, like you mentioned, getting to meet them as freshmen and sophomore and building that pipeline is going to lead to those. But for the alumni that are listening, like as an employer, if your company allows that and has the opportunity, that'd be a great opportunity to come in. And even if they're just summer interns throughout their college career or whatever it might be, but that's definitely a big trend that we're seeing and noticing, and not something that we're going to necessarily change our internship for, but definitely worth mentioning it for other employers.
It's a good point. Yeah, early identification has become the buzzword, in employer relations. When I speak with companies that like large companies like Deloitte and things like that, they're trying to identify their folks early so that they can train them up. What we have showing here is just a little video of our big all majors fair. This was last fall. It was the biggest fair we'd had to date. We are right now tracking to be bigger, the bigger of the biggest career fairs, because our registrations are trending ahead. So if you are interested in being part of this organization or part of this event, we'd highly encourage you to go ahead and register as soon as you can. I do think we're going to run out of spaces. And it's a good opportunity, as we mentioned before, for you to engage with majors and alum from all different sorts of disciplines. If you are looking for a more tailored sort of experience, a smaller event with focus in just your industry, let us know and we can tell you whether there's a fair that might fit the bill for you on that. Any other questions that anyone can throw it at me?
Jenny, I was going to add something else to kind of what we're seeing in terms of across the talent acquisition community. Right now in America, there are more open jobs and we actually have people that are, able to work. What we're starting to see is that old apprenticeship model coming back inside of our workforce. We're seeing the launch of more apprenticeships across the country. So I think in terms of what can employers expect and maybe what can they do to get ahead of this, it's starting to think about what are going to be the internship opportunities that they can create and a strategy to engage their talent at MTSU early on instead of waiting till that junior and senior year. I think you'll get more students more interested in, kind of that work study or internship summer work experience opportunities that you can provide them. I think one, it's going to help you with your brand awareness and career opportunities, but it's going to help you find more talent. But then when you do convert them to full-time hires upon graduation, I do think it's going to end up helping your retention rates and reducing turnover across your early and career talent community.
Yeah, no, that's a great call out, and I'm glad you said it. I do think, as I said earlier, that there's an intentional look that employers need to take in their organizations. Some of their leadership is aging out, and can they backfill it? And what opportunities can they provide to start early and build that all the way up? I will say that if I had a thought about that on that same pathway. Oh, just that if you start with that early and make connections, and then those students maybe have different opportunities than what they expected, it helps clarify for them what their pathways are. So internship is a big word, and we apply it in different ways. And so it can be as 16-week 20-hour a week sort of experience, and it can be a rotational thing. It can be a job shadow type experience. It can be more of an apprenticeship model. But we've found, some of the folks today have sort of shared what's worked for their organizations, but I do think that it's important for you to, hammer that out and not just expect that they're just going to arrive in the same way that they might have done before, because that it is getting harder to place folks. So I'm just want to be cognizant of our time. Does anyone have any other last burning thoughts that we want to leave the group with before we transition out for the day?
Jenny, I am seeing two questions, one in the
Okay.
chat, one in the Q&A. One, are there resources to determine what's an acceptable internship pay rate?
Yes. Long long answer is not going to, get done right now, but we can talk with you about that. There are national rates. The NACE, the organization we referenced before, has a document that talks about per industry what might be reasonable. We can talk with you about what might be reasonable. And one thing I want to say too is I often hear, well, I'm nonprofit. I've recently discovered an organization that will help compensate for students who have to take unpaid internships. But the greater message we hope you're getting is that it will only help your organization if you're able to find that funding for yourself, so that you don't lose out on helping build these pipelines that we've spoken about. Did you say there was a second one?
Yes. What is the typical turnaround time for a job posting on Handshake to move from pending to approved?
It depends on what it is. If it is pending, if it's unpaid, we're probably going to decline it, unless we have reached out to a faculty person that can vouch for it. If it's if the compensation is somehow different, then like it's not just normal hourly wage, and it's based on bonuses or things like that, it's going to be pending until we have an opportunity to find out more about it. But otherwise, it should turn around pretty quickly. Organizations are vetted by Handshake. They're also vetted by our department. And so we do get backlogged at times like this when, a lot of folks are posting their new positions and registering for career fairs. But we do our best to turn it around within, 2 days, if we can. So if you're finding that something's pending, and you don't understand why, reach out to us. You can message us through Handshake. You can email us. You can call us, and we can look at your individual case. All right. Well, I think that is our time. Our faces and emails and all those things are right here. Victoria, did you have something else you were going to share? Sorry, I thought I heard your little voice. One slide that Ayla popped up there was our career closet. We are always trying to fill our career closet with lightly used donations, professional clothing that our students can use for interviewing and such. So if you have things to share, we would be glad to take those off your hands. So Rachel, you got a closing statement for us?
Yes, ma'am. Just thank you. I just want to thank you all. Thank you to our panel. I'm always so impressed by our alums, Jon Snider, Leland, Waite, Rudie McGowen, Maddie Morgan. Thank you so much for your time. It is so appreciated. And of course, Jenny, Ayla, Victoria, thank you. I know the Career Development Center, they do so much good work. And I know we at Alumni Relations, we're looking forward to being a part of your career fair that's on September 25th. So here at MTSU, our fall semester starts on Monday. And so we are really looking forward to seeing all of our students again. This place is way too quiet in the summer. We have a ton of events lined up for the fall, including our big one, which is homecoming on Saturday, September 20th. You're welcome to go to our website. It's mtalumni.com. You can peruse all the discounts that we have for alumni, everything from tickets to TPAC shows, Dollywood, Lucky Lad Farms, the Atlanta Falcons. We have a lot of webinars and workshops. And as always, reach out to us, especially if you'd like to become more involved with the university. We have so many opportunities, and we are here to help in any way we can. Our next webinar is going to be on September 24th. Professor Todd O'Neill is going to present how artificial intelligence is transforming creative industries. And on November 5th, Ashley Stearns will present Estate Planning 101. Again, you can sign up for any of those at mtalumni.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and I hope you all have a great afternoon. Thank you.